Yep, I'm still watching, and just like that. And if you are watching this, that means that you are watching it too. So we are, I don't want to say gluttons for punishment, but we're going to see this through, right? Last episode was good, and I felt like the series was taking a turn. This week, not as cringy as the first 4 or 5 episodes, but a little on the boring side. But there were some gems, and let's talk about those. Just a couple of quick observations. I love that Charlotte's dog is named Richard Burton because we know that her dog in the series that Cavalier King Charles, whatever the breed is, so adorable, was Elizabeth Taylor. And then she had got gangbanged in Central Park and she had a whole bunch of mutt puppies. Um, and I don't know if this is one of them or if this is just a different dog. I don't know, but I like the fact that his name is Richard Burton. So that was cute, cute um, little tidbit. All right, so we see that Carrie is looking for another apartment, and she's looking at a place downtown, huge apartment, very modern. Um, she's trying to start over, and it makes perfect sense. Now that Big is gone, and I think for her, even though she likes her apartment in the brownstone, there's just so many memories, and I guess it feels like she hasn't progressed or she hasn't moved. Like she's just kind of right back to where she was when she was 29. So I get her intent to kind of start over. But as we see at the end, she decides not to because it's just not her. So I can support that decision. So that was cool. What else happened? They are putting Anthony in a lot. He's becoming like the fourth friend, the fourth girlfriend, which works because, he's funny. He has good energy. He asked Carrie to go with him to a facelift appointment with a plastic surgeon, an appointment he had made before Stanford left him. And the surgeon tells Anthony he doesn't need nothing, maybe a little Botox and some fillers. And then they look at Carrie and he does this 3D analysis thing with her, which was a pretty cool tool. So you saw her now, and if they did all these things to her, what she would look like. And she looked exactly like she did like 15 years ago. So that was cool. I like this scene because I think this is the stuff that women in their 50s are dealing with. So it wasn't the whole hip thing and all these other tropes about like getting older that they threw in the beginning just seemed it seemed overly intentional. This seemed more natural because I think at that age women do start thinking about their looks and doing some nipping and some tucking. And we've all done it. You get to an age, and a lot of people will crap on, fillers and cosmetic surgery and stuff, but a lot of people are doing it. So for all these people out here talking crap about it, I'm believing that several of y'all have probably done a little something and probably would, given the opportunity. Because who doesn't want to look younger? Who doesn't want to look prettier if you can, especially if it's not overly expensive and it's not really intrusive? If these are just like, day of cosmetic procedures, not like you're having a full facelift or surgery. And if it makes you feel better about yourself, I mean, and I think we've all had those moments where we realize that we're not as young as we used to be. We see ourselves every day, so we don't get to see the changes over time. And it's not until either we run into somebody we haven't seen in a long time and we see them. Oh, sorry, I got on my lip. We see them and then we're like, damn, they really changed, or they don't look good. Like, reunions are good for that. You go to your high school reunion, college reunion, and you realize how many people have aged. And that's when you have to stop and look like, do I look the same way to them that they look to me? And that's when you start to really look at yourself in the mirror and really like look for all the wrinkles and the 11s, like he said. Or you look at a picture of yourself and you're like, oh, wow. Picture of your old picture of your old self, and you're like, I was really cute. And it's funny because when we were that age, we didn't think we were good enough. We thought we were too fat. We thought, our hair wasn't good enough, or we always found something to criticize. But then when you fast forward, you realize how good your skin was, how pretty you were, and how thin you were, and all these other things. And, you know, it's kind of hindsight's 2020, right? I had an incident recently where I went to a Hawks game, and so my boyfriend was he's friends with the coaches of a team from another city, and so after the game we went down to courtside so he could say hello to his friends. And as I'm coming down the steps to this area, it's kind of like restricted area, like just for like the athletes and their family and stuff. And this guy is looking at me and he's like staring at me like he knows me. And so I'm getting closer to him and he's like, are you so and so? And I'm thinking like, who does he think I am? Because I don't know him. He's like, I know you. You're so and so's mother. The so and so he's talking about was one of the players. And I had a moment where I was like, wait a second, you think I'm old enough to be one of these players' moms? And I was offended, but then I had to stop and think, you're 46 years old. These players in the NBA now are in their 20s. Of course you're old enough to be one of their mothers. And even though I know it, to have somebody else say it to me out loud, like how did I go from being, are you somebody's girlfriend or wife, to are you somebody's mother? And it was funny, but I have to admit, I felt away for the rest of the day. Like, I know I'm 46, but does the world know? But yeah, so I say this all to say is that I felt that moment in the office where he showed her what she could look like. And I could see the urge to just do it, especially for somebody like Carrie, when money is not an issue. You can, she doesn't really have to go check into a job every day where people are going to see her. She can do this all under the radar. Nobody would judge her. She just lost her husband. But there's something to be said about growing old gracefully as well. So I thought that was a cute scene. What else happened? Seema, she goes to, what's the event? Is it a Diwali? I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. With Seema. And they went and they put on these saris, which were absolutely beautiful. That store had so much good stuff in there, and I would love to go in there and purchase one. Not that I have anywhere to wear it, but they were beautiful, beautiful not costumes. I don't know if you call them a costume. Outfits. So that was cute. We see that Seema is 53 years old. Her parents are pressuring her to get married. She's lied to them about having a boyfriend because she just doesn't want to deal with it. I like her and Carrie's friendship. She gives me Samantha, that kind of fix it, no judgment, get it done friend, Like, how, remember in the first movie after Big left Carrie at the altar and she had already sold her apartment and they were in Mexico. And so Samantha went, she changed the ticket so the rest of them could go. She said she can get somebody in there to get Carrie's stuff out of the apartment. She worked with Miranda to be able to buy Carrie's apartment back. So that thing that Samantha has, that just like, I can handle anything, I can fix anything. She's that one girlfriend that we all need, who there's no problem that's too big, like when you can't deal with all of the details of something, you don't have the mind for it, the energy. She's that one who goes in, she makes all the phone calls, she makes things happen, and she just fixes your problems for you. And I see that in Seema, where, she's that, you don't like this, let's fix it. You don't want this, we'll do something better with it. Even at the end when Carrie said that she didn't want the apartment anymore, there was no judgment. It was like, all right, we'll sell it. And I love it. I really love, we all need somebody in our life like that who, helps us and I guess in a sense caters to our emotions that aren't always logical, because not everything has a logical solution. Sometimes you have to make decisions with your heart, with your instinct. And if that meant for Carrie that this apartment is not where she should be, and she has the means to just sell it and just move back, then she should. And the fact that Seema had no feelings or misgivings about it and is willing to roll up her sleeves and do whatever she has to in order to help her with this, I just loved it. And that to me was very characteristic of Samantha. So not that she's a replacement at all, but I did see some characteristics in her. Another thing I thought was interesting in this episode is that Miranda's professor, and I don't remember her name, she has IVF concerns, and she was talking about going out to dinner with another couple who has kids and just how uncomfortable that whole thing could be, which is something I think women in their 30s and 40s probably can relate to. So they're like hitting all on all cylinders, all the issues that women of a certain age are probably dealing with. Um, I thought it was interesting that she had her own scene. They show her having dinner with that other couple and they show her with her husband. And this is probably one of the first times I've seen them give an outside, like what's the word, like an ancillary character, their own scenes without any of the core characters in it. So I don't know if they're trying to make her like the fourth character, or they're just changing their style, but I that did stand out to me. And I don't know how I feel about it because that character, she's not interesting enough to me to see her story. Like if she's sitting and talking to Miranda about it, fine, but I don't want to see her alone in her own scene with her husband and her friends. It just didn't interest me. And I think at that moment I trailed off a little bit. um what else? Okay, so the reason I'm still invested in this show is mainly for Miranda's storyline because, like I said last week, that was a powerful scene. Her confession that she was not happy. Um, that's the Sex and the City that we remember and we love. A lot of this other stuff feels like fluff and filler. I want something with substance. I want to get deep into the characters. I want to feel what they're feeling. I want to empathize with them. I want a visceral reaction to their life. And up until last week, I didn't have that. But then I got invested because I really was feeling for Miranda and I want to see where this is going to go. They talk a little bit more about her. So she sees that she's fantasizing about Shay or Che, I don't know how you pronounce it. She confesses to Charlotte. That was a really good scene where Charlotte tells her like, you know, you're having a midlife crisis. That's what this is about. And Charlotte, of course, has her own agenda because she's going through everything with her daughter and she wants to see things stay the same. So Miranda changing, coupled with her daughter changing, this is too much for Charlotte because she's a traditionalist. She likes things to be the way that they're supposed to be. So all of this was giving her a reaction that didn't have everything to do with Miranda. But we all do that, right? We always project our own stuff onto other people. Miranda tried to defend herself, got to the point she's like, I'm getting up and I'm leaving. And Carrie had to pull her back in, remind her that we are friends and we're going to get through this, which was cool. I didn't gave a lot of thought to Miranda and her infatuation with Shay. And I don't think that she's gay. I don't even think that she's bi. I think that she's invigorated by Shay's lifestyle and Shay's story because, when they were at the hospital and they were talking in the cafeteria, Shay was talking about how, she just felt free once she came out the closet and she was able to be herself. And it's that freedom that I think Miranda is attracted to. The ability to shed your skin and become somebody else or let go of your old life. She can't do that because she's married and she has a kid. She did it a little bit when in her quitting her job, but there's so much more that tethers her to her world. And I think she's envious of the fact that Shay was able to make a decision and she's not. So I don't think she's in love with Shay. I don't think she even wants her like that, wants to be in a relationship. I think it's the freedom. It's what Shay represents to her that she's attracted to. And the sexual piece was probably just a manifestation of that, how it was playing itself out. The liquor was her numbing herself. And I think that her interaction, the sexual encounter she had with Shay was the first time she felt free to do something that didn't fit inside of that box that she has kind of subscribed to. So I get it. I don't know where this is going to go. We see at the end that she sends a message to Shay saying, hey, can we hang out? It'll probably just be more sex, and maybe out of this will come a good friendship, between two women, somebody who understands her or who will push her or challenge her to make the changes that she wants in her life. We're all Steve fans, so we don't want to see them break up. But he can't be completely happy either. I mean, if Miranda's so unhappy, he has to know and he has to feel it. I mean, they're not being intimate. It sounds like they're just friends. For all we know, Steve is cheating. He might have a whole other relationship because nobody's going to go without but for so long. So, they might both be just staying because of their son or because it's easier or whatever. And everybody does deserve to be happy. So as long as it's, I guess, handled the right way, where she's not cheating and she's being honest about how she feels, I do hope that she's able to find her happy, whatever that means. And if that just means going back to being a single Miranda, living by herself or, with her son part-time or until he goes to college or whatever it is. So that was it. I'm trying to think what else happened. Oh, the very end, we see that Carrie puts on her Carrie necklace. That's thematic because when the show first started, that was like a signature item of hers. At some point, she stopped wearing it. We saw it again at the end of season 6 after she was dating Petrovsky. And she thought she lost it in Paris, and then she found it had fallen into the lining of one of her purses, and that was a reminder of who she was. And when she put it back on, it was like, I'm Carrie again. I'm not this woman who has uprooted my whole life to be with this man who's not really giving me the respect and time that I need. And that's when she got back with Big. So her going back to the Carrie necklace is a sign to us that she's going back to her original self. So, the apartment's gone. She's back in her brownstone. We see at the end that she's pulling Big's clothes out of the boxes and she puts on, I think, that cummerbund that was part of his tux and the jacket, and she's going out. So it's like she's Carrie 2.0. So she's not getting rid of all of her. But she's accepting her new life. She's still Carrie, via the chain, but she's also recognizing and acknowledging that she's in a new chapter, and Big is a part of that, even though he's no longer physically here. But in wearing his jacket and his cummerbund, it's, a piece of him is with her in her fashion, and fashion is her thing. So I could be, digging in way too deep with this, but that's kind of how I interpreted that scene at the end. What else? I think that's it. Like, this episode was kind of all over the place, a lot of different scenes. Some were good. What I do like is that they're interspersing humor with some serious moments. When she went to the storage place and she opened the box and she found the records, and she was sad and realized that she's not quite there yet. But then, you have some funny moments. The beeping in the apartment was hilarious. So yeah, I thought it was good. It was good. I would give it a C plus, B minus, but much better than it was in the beginning. And so, like I said, I'm committed to this. I will continue to watch and I will continue to review. And let's hope that next week picks it up a little bit. Don't forget to subscribe and like and comment and all that good stuff. And I'll talk to you next week.